Welcome to Guns & Ammo TV. We're glad you could join us. I'm Craig Boddington.
And I'm Kyle Lamb. We're going to head to the range. We're going to check out Auto Ordnance's version of the classic Tommy gun. This thing is awesome.
And in Tactical Hunter, Kyle and I are going to talk about practicing the most difficult of all shooting positions, shooting offhand. Doesn't matter whether you're a hunter or an operator, you need to practice offhand because that's the tough one.
All right, folks, let's head out to the range and check out that Ruger 1911 in Commander Lane.
At the Range is brought to you by GalleryofGuns.com.
Mark, of the many configurations the 1911 can be found in, the Commander pattern format has always been the most popular among people who actually carry 1911s.
And as such, that made perfect sense for the next iteration for the SR 1911 that we would offer to the public.
Now, the Commander pattern has the true Commander pattern gun has a 4.25-inch barrel as compared to 5-inch, but there's more to making a working Commander pattern gun than just cutting 3/4 inch off the front of the slide and the barrel, right?
And didn't we learn that? So if you compare right next to each other, yes, we have a shorter sliding barrel.
A shorter sliding barrel.
But it's not, as you said, it's not just cutting 3/4 inch off the front of it. That would be the easy way. It would not be a Commander pattern gun.
Yeah, well, one of the things you can notice here is that with the full-length slide, the slide has more run-up behind the magazine well than on the shorter slide, where it starts essentially right even with it. But that has a lot to do with the spring length, because there's also not as much room for the spring to compress.
Yeah, so
you had to use different springs.
Yeah, we have the correct length spring there. So everything that happens in the 1911 now has to happen just a little bit quicker, less dwell time, if you will.
Yeah. And not only does it have to do with the recoil spring, but the magazine gets into the act.
Sure.
Because if the slide doesn't go as far back and gets back quicker, that magazine spring has to push the round up faster, so it's there waiting for the slide.
Right. We don't want the slide to outrun the magazine.
Except for the difference in length and the spring adjustments, the Commander pattern gun has the same features as the full-size, correct?
Absolutely. We have stainless frame, stainless slide, stainless barrel. We have Novak sights. We have extended controls here on the safety lock, slide stop.
We got a cool hammer cupping beaver tail.
Absolutely, beaver tail.
And I've been waiting for this particular pattern of the SR 1911 like I've been waiting on a lot of your other guns. And you set me up for this, didn't you?
Talking about 1911s is always a good thing with you, Dick, so this is all good stuff, isn't it?
There may be only one other firearm in American history that can give the Colt Single Action Army or the Model 1911 semi-auto pistol a run for their money as the iconic American firearm, and that's the Tommy gun, still available to ordinary citizens from Auto Ordnance. That is a beautiful piece of work. What are the features, Bob?
Well, this is what we call a T150D. It's a semi-automatic version of the Tommy gun. Comes with a 30-round stick magazine and a 50-round drum.
Wow, that's firepower. Does this have a detachable buttstock?
This particular one does not, but we do offer...
so you offer more than just the one model of the Tommy gun?
Yes. This is the gangster version.
All right. Yeah, it's cool looking. I think everybody's seen that picture of John Dillinger with a Tommy gun in his hand. In fact, your catalog is full of pictures of the infamous and the famous with Tommy guns in their hands through history.
That's correct, Dick. As a matter of fact, if you reference, there's one image in there of a GI running away with a Tommy gun in one hand and a .45 in the other hand. I actually met that man.
Really?
Yes. As a matter of fact, he told me the story behind the picture. And in essence, his sergeant had just ordered him to take out a German machine gun nest, and that's what he was doing.
He was on his way to take out a machine gun nest,
correct.
and that picture is one of the most famous World War II pictures that there is. One of the things that strikes me about the semi-auto blowback design of the current Auto Ordnance Thompson is that unlike the original, it fires from a closed bolt, correct?
That is correct.
You don't have that long delay between pulling the trigger waiting for it to go forward. But you still got all of that .45 ACP firepower.
That's right. And again, like I said earlier, you can get it in either 50 round or the 100 round drum.
There's a 100-round drum for this?
There is that's the 50. You can get a larger 100 round drum.
Well, this one weighs a ton. How much does this gun weigh, fully loaded?
Oh boy, the gun itself is around 12 pounds.
All right.
And then you add,
and then you add a full box of 50 rounds of ammunition, or 2 full boxes for the big drum. So if you want to own a real piece of Americana, you can't do much better than to get one of Colonel Thompson's original Tommy guns, still made in America right here in Worcester, Massachusetts, based on the same patents of the 1927 version. It's a real intimidator.
Guns and Ammo is brought to you by Trijicon. Guns and Ammo is brought to you by Chiappa.
You know, Dick, lighted dot sights have really come a long ways. I mean, we used to call them red dot sights, but even that's not true anymore.
No, it's not. They're multi-colors. You can pretty much pick, or you can have more than one color
That's
in the
right.
same sight. You know, I'll confess, when dot sights first appeared on the market for hunting back in 1979, I didn't think much of it, but I've learned different. I mean, a sight like this new TruGlo Triton, 3 colors, Triton,
yeah.
I get it, is actually very versatile, particularly for small game
What
hunting.
really is, it's great for small game. You don't have the magnification, but they're real fast, and with the 3 colors, this one has red, green, and blue background.
And 3 levels of brightness for each of those 3 colors, which makes it very versatile for cloudy days, bright and sunny days, anything you kind of want. And I have to tell you that TruGlo does offer a pretty good value for money. This 30mm version, for example, comes with an extra value-added feature, a pressure switch. You merely plug the pressure switch into the socket on the side of the sight, stretch it around, and stick it to the Velcro pad in a position that's comfortable for your shooting style, and
Well, that's cool.
it comes on or off. Off now, but whenever I touch it, it goes on. Good way to save battery, but always be ready.
Well, it is, and now the Triton also comes in a 20mm. There's the same series, same general features, got 3 colors, 3 settings for each. You don't get the pressure switch with the 20mm, but you do get 2 different heights and mounts.
And that's very helpful if you want to put this on, say, a AR type gun, because you get it up where it needs to be, or you can use it on a standard configuration with the lower mount, and you get versatility both ways.
Oh, you really do.
They're really actually very, very useful. Great recreational tools, very useful actually in a serious situation because they're so fast.
Well, they are fast. Your eye is really drawn to that center dot. If you haven't used one, man, they are really fast.
They are really fast, and they are a lot of fun, and they are frankly very affordable.
Bet.
Chuck, whoever thought we'd live in an era where the federal government itself is telling people that in the event of a natural disaster or emergency, they should have a plan and have a go bag. I mean, do you ever think that you'd hear the words go bag from the federal government, you know? And if something happens, chances are either you're gonna be at home or you need to go somewhere. So I have a tendency to keep mine in my vehicle, you know? And why don't you show us what we've got here? I know we've got a couple of different versions of this from Blackhawk, which are pretty neat. Why don't you go over their features here?
Well, the one you've got here is our Brick Go Bag, and this is legitimately designed as a go bag.
Did you say brick?
The Brick Go Bag.
Oh, I like it because of the shape.
So it's got a single strap. You can adjust it to either side for ambidextrous use. It's got mesh lining where it comes in contact with your back and on the shoulder strap, so you get some airflow if you're carrying it for a long period of time, like if you've got to hoof it somewhere. It doesn't build up heat. It's very comfortable. It's got grab handles on both sides. So the main compartment comes with dividers, so you can configure it into however many sections you want. This one is configured in 2. We've got dust mask, power bars, first aid kit, wipes. We've got a med bag here, a blister pack here.
It doesn't come with any of that stuff, but we're showing just how much stuff you can actually fit into this.
Exactly. It doesn't come with any of it, but you can outfit it because everybody's got their own personal ways. I would be willing to guess that my go bag is set up different than your go bag, so everybody has their own preferences.
Yep.
And then on the outer flap, you've got 2 different compartments. This one's got a flashlight, small emergency kit, knife, marker, different things. And then on this one, we've got the Black Hawk water bottle that's got the water purification filter and tablets inside it, so you can get your water when you're traveling along with a little mesh pocket that helps you separate out the items.
What's this thing? This looks a little bit more traditional.
So this is our diversion courier bag. It's designed to look like a traditional courier bag or briefcase, but it also is set up to allow you to hold magazines for your MSR. It's got a compartment where you can put things that are fairly flat, and then it's got a large compartment. This again with the water bottle, with the purification kit, med kit. It's got the tourniquet here alongside the magazines. You can adjust these for different size magazines, the dividers that let you configure it to either magazines or whatever you want to put in there. Everything is made as modular as possible to let everybody set it up the way they want it set up.
They're just well thought out that no matter what you want to put into your own personal go bag, you can pretty much fit it into something this size or that size. They're really well designed.
And we make both smaller and larger so that everybody can pick a size that fits them, get the kit they want.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Chuck.
Sure.
Guns and Ammo is brought to you by LWRC. Guns and Ammo is brought to you by Stag Arms.
And this week's All About ARs. We're going to take a close look at suppressed ARs, yet another dimension to the AR platform.
All About ARs is brought to you by Kia.
Steve, the subject of sound suppressors on firearms is of greatening interest for shooters generally in this country for some very good reasons.
That's true. That's true. There's all sorts of reasons why people would want suppressors on firearms, not the least of which would be not to disturb their neighbors, whether they're hunting, target shooting, plinking, whatever.
Not also to mention that it certainly protects your hearing, because a lot of people always remember that first shot after they've forgotten to put on their ear protection.
What's that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly like that. And in this case, the Europeans are ahead of us. They've been using suppressors on firearms for hunting for a very long time.
That's true. And Finland, I believe, is the latest country that allows suppressors for hunting.
And speaking of increasing allowance, it has always been a common misconception that suppressors are against the law in the United States. They're not. They never have been. Federal law regulated suppressors beginning in 1934, but any citizen of the United States can legally own one simply by completing the always onerous federal paperwork and paying a $200 tax stamp fee, which is a one-time only fee for that suppressor. More than half the states now allow you to hunt with firearms with suppressors, and more every year, 2 more just this year.
True.
Now, the NSSF is taking a position on this. What is that position?
Well, we believe that these should be encouraged, not discouraged. They are not criminal weapons, just like these rifles are not weapons of war, so to speak, the misconception on the part of the public. And we're trying to educate people that it's a good thing to have when, for example, the question of range closures and allowing ranges to operate in urban areas. I think most people that object to ranges don't really object to the safety of the range, even though that's the claim that they raise. Really what they're complaining about is the noise. And this is a great way where people can still enjoy what they're doing and not disturb their neighbors.
Exactly. And suppressors aren't just limited to this type of firearm. There are suppressors for 10-22 Ruger rifles for squirrel hunting. There are suppressors for plinking guns like 22 pistols. A suppressor is an all-around good thing. Save your ears, save your hearing, save your neighbor's peace of mind, and get one as quickly as it's legal in your state.
And it may take a while because ATF has a big backlog on applications.
In our Tactical Hunter segment, I'm going to head to the range with Craig Boddington. When we get out there, we're going to practice our offhand shooting. It's a little bit different for hunters and tactical operators.
Tactical Hunter is brought to you by Trijicon.
All right. Hey, that looks good, but now you do that a little bit differently than I do.
Yeah, what I try to do for my offhand shooting, if I'm moving and I need to stop the shoot, I'm going to try to get aggressively on that front foot. The other thing that I do is I keep my weapon muzzle down, and that way I simply can bring the weapon up on the target quickly. It works well with this weapon the way that you've got a pistol grip, so that's how I like to work on that. Well, and I like to work on this a lot because it's difficult.
Well, it is. I mean, now in hunting and really in combat too, offhand shooting is your quarter last resort. That's the last position you want to use. You always want to use the rest, but sometimes You're walking down a trail and there's the buck you've been looking for. Now, in a hunting situation, you're generally action imminent if that happens, or at least you should be. So, you know, I will generally be carrying the rifle at port arms, just because that's the safest way to carry a rifle with a chambered round. So I'm going to be carrying the rifle at port arms, but it's important to take a half a second to get your feet set, no matter how fast the encounter. And then you just kind of get as steady as you can, aim in.
There you go, good. Now, one thing I'd like to point out too, when Craig does this, you notice every time he does it, he's activating the safety. That's something that hunters sometimes, when they practice, they don't use their safety, but you're using your safety. He's clicking that safety up when he gets ready to come up on target, but when you're walking through the woods, you're gonna have your safety on.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing the same thing there. The other thing that he does when he mounts this weapon, he doesn't just slide it up his clothing, he's bringing it out into the pocket of his shoulder. Because if you have a hunting weapon and you don't do that, you can end up catching on your clothing. That's why he's doing that. Okay, so it's very, very important that you do that. Now,
the other
gun
thing
looks like it's going to be a hard day if you shoot that a lot practicing.
Well, the other thing you can do, and it's a great idea, is to take a good 22 and mount a similar kind of sight on it.
All right, good.
Now you can do a lot of that shooting, and that's the thing about offhand. It's the most difficult position, so it's the position you ought to practice all the time.
Get out there, take your hunting weapon, activate the safety, practice mounting the weapon, and do it over and over and over.
Guns and Ammo is brought to you by SIG. Guns and Ammo is brought to you by Springfield Armory. Full Auto is brought to you by Stag Arms.
Dave, we got to start the trash talk right now. This is the iconic MP5, the world's most over-engineered piece of crap submachine gun in existence.
But it's German. It's got to be good, right?
It was designed by a committee. It was designed by a committee who clearly didn't have any idea what goes on in a firearm. First of all, I've got big hands. It's a reach for me to reach the safety.
But it's an HK. You have to reach on everything.
That means that you can't reach the safety if it's an HK. The safety on this, the Navy lower, goes from safe to semi to 3-shot burst to full auto.
Kill them all.
Right. And once you're there, as I said, I have big hands. I have to turn it back to here, push it back, unless of course it's the ambi, which then gets in the way of my trigger finger.
How inconvenient.
Yeah, right. It's accurate, I'll give it that.
Well, one of the things about this classic design is that it shoots from the
closed bolt.
Okay, right. Most submachine guns shoot from the open bolt position. Right. With this shooting from the closed bolt position, it's actually much easier to shoot, isn't it?
It's very accurate. The trigger, I'll have to say, doesn't suck for an HK. You can't hold on comfortably. The stock, rams the hump here right into your face every time you shoot.
On the flip side, when did this gun first become really famous in the public eye?
The SAS Rescue.
That's when everyone really took notice of it.
Right.
And at that time, that also led to it becoming widespread around the world with counterterrorism units, special police units, SWAT units, and pretty soon everybody had one. That was LE.
You can hardly walk around the tourist spots of Europe and not see a police officer carrying one of these.
But now they're going away.
Right.
Now, why is that?
Because it's a 9-pound, 10-pound pistol. It's a 9mm submachine gun.
So you can't penetrate modern body armor, hard plates and stuff with it.
I mean, a short-barreled M16 is pretty much the same size. Why would you want something that's good to 100 yards or so and won't go through hardcover when you can get the M16 in a short barrel version that will?
Unless you're running a sound suppressor. That is still one area which up until recently this weapon system really shined.
For a long time, the 3-lug barrel here allowed you to put a suppressor on and shoot quietly.
But now There's the...
There's better suppressors. And since we don't have to be quiet, why don't we make some more noise?
Absolutely.
All right. All the way to giggle.
Now it's fun, but today the MP5 is being replaced or has been replaced by much more effective 5.56 caliber short barrel rifles that have a longer effective range, more
Right.
penetration, or also by
300 Blackout.
which is, you know,
Awesome suppressed cartridge. It was a lot of fun. It was great in its day. It got the job done, but let's go on to something else.
Hey Craig, that was a great show. And I'll tell you, watching Metcalf shoot that doggone Tommy gun from Auto Ordnance, he looked like a little kid in a candy store.
Oh, he was having too much fun. Hey, that's it for this week's show. Thanks for staying with us. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, check us out at gunsandammo.com and pick up a copy of Guns and Ammo at your nearest newsstand.
And we will see you on the range.
Closed captioning is brought to you by LWRC.